hidden Brower. Toronto is located in eastern Canada. I shouldn't say eastern Canada because Torontonians would describe themselves, I think, as Central Canadian. Everything west of Ontario is considered Western Canada to those living in Quebec or Ontario, and everything east of Quebec is considered Eastern Canada to those living in Quebec or Ontario, and that has to do with the way in which Canada developed as a country. But I don't think we're going to go into the Canadian history in this particular video. Instead, we're going to look at Toronto, and not only the city of Toronto, but the GTA in general, I hope. And I have spent some time living in Toronto, so I think there's going to be too much to cover in, well, it's about 7:43 p.m. right now. So, yeah, I think that by the time we finish this, it might be around 8:20, 8:30, and so I don't think we're going to get through all the interesting bits. So, anyway, so this here is the GTA. Now, if you want to go even further, you've got the GTHA, which includes Hamilton, St. Catharines, and Niagara Falls. And I think it also includes Guelph and Kitchener-Waterloo. Potentially. But anyway, so Toronto is located on the northern shore of Lake Ontario, which is practically an ocean when you think about it. You can't see the other side. Maybe you could on a really clear day. You could see Hamilton from Toronto, but I don't think so. But anyway, you've got the harborfront, waterfront area right here. And then, what else do we have here? Liberty Village, Runnymede, Yonge and Bloor, U of T, downtown, King Street West and Queen Street West, and then you've got Queen Street East, and then you have Corktown and Regent Park, and all these wonderful places. You got Midtown Toronto, you've got North York. I think I've gone over these in another video before. I should let you know I've got some strawberry bubbly. I'm going to be sipping that occasionally just to, yeah, I just have it, so, I think what I want to do first here is I want to go to the Wikipedia page. So I'm definitely not going to go through all the history, but we can talk about the city. For example, it says here it's a single-tier city, and the way that municipalities are structured, or tend to be structured in Ontario, is that there's something called a municipality, of course, and then there's a regional municipality. At least that's what they would call it in British Columbia. In Ontario, I think it's just called a two-tier city, a two-tier municipality. And the two-tier municipality is an equivalent of a regional municipality with multiple municipalities located inside of it. So, just as an example, let's go back to Google Earth here. You've got the city of Toronto right here. This right here is the city of Toronto. The border. This is a rough outline where my cursor is. And it's a single-tier municipality. But then if you go just north of Toronto, you've got Vaughan right here. You have Richmond Hill right here. You have Markham here. You have Aurora and Newmarket. And all of these municipalities, which is what they are municipalities, they are all located within the two-tier municipality of York region. Now, if you go just west of the city of Toronto, you will see Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon, which currently doesn't have much development in it, but that is all part of the region, or the two-tier municipality of Peel. And if you go just west of that, you have Oakville, Burlington, and Oakville, Burlington, and Milton. And these are all municipalities within the region of Halton. And if you go east, you will find Pickering, Whitby, and Oshawa. And these are all municipalities located in the regional municipality of Durham region. So, that was kind of a lot, but that's the way it's structured. And the reason Toronto itself is a single-tier municipality, as it says right here, is because it used to be 6 municipalities. They were called Toronto, Scarborough, Etobicoke, East York, North York, and I think York might have been one of them. I can't remember exactly. And in the 1990s, the provincial government amalgamated all of these different municipalities into one single tier municipality called Toronto. Now, a lot of the inner city people were against this because it effectively watered down their voting power in municipal elections. And so it increased the amount of influence that the suburbs had on the inner city, which urbanites tend not to like because they don't like the suburbs. Anyway, long story. You can see on the right side, you've got a picture of the Toronto skyline with the CN Tower, which is structure in Canada. And you have the Parliament buildings at Queen's Park, which I will show you on the map, and Nathan Phillips Square with the Toronto sign, and City Hall. And then I think this is over the Humber River, this bridge. This must be Casa Loma, which I can also show you on the map if I remember. And you have the ROM, the Royal Ontario Museum, which has taken a lot of criticism for its architectural choices. And that looks like the Scarborough Bluffs, so we're going to be taking a look at all of that stuff. Alright, so the GTA. Okay, yeah, amalgamated January 1, 1998 as City of Toronto. Districts: East York, Etobicoke, North York, Old Toronto, Scarborough, and York. Yeah, okay, those are the 6. And that's also why I think Drake christened Toronto as the 6, but nobody in Toronto really calls it the 6. Okay, so I really want to look at the population here. So according to the 2016 Canadian census, the city population was 2,731,571. It's the first most populous city in Canada. The urban region, okay, I guess the Greater Toronto Area, the GTA, has 6,470,516, which is also the largest region in Canada. I guess when you think about the region, yes, it's the Greater Golden Horseshoe, which is the secondary region. Okay, so the Greater Golden Horseshoe has almost 10 million people, which is what I showed you earlier. There's lots of highways, and we're not going to go through any of this history. That's a cool picture, though. That's the first Canada Place under construction. Got some climate here. That's the ROM again with the old architecture and then the new architecture. Alright, yeah, let's just jump into the map, shall we? Okay. One of the first things you'll notice if you drive into Toronto off the 401, which is this highway here where my cursor is, you'll probably, if you're coming from the east, you will transition from the 401 onto the DVP or the Don Valley Parkway. The Don Valley Parkway is a beautiful way to enter the city. Here's just a quick street view of what it looks like. Of course, it's winter. That's terrible. Maybe we will find a time that is not winter as we travel along. That was really good for a second there. Unfortunately, it's winter, so it's not as beautiful as it could be. Okay, here's a little bit more green. Let's exit this view, shall we? It gets more beautiful as you move in and you start. Okay, here. I drove in here once, and it just was gorgeous. Okay, it's winter time again, but the city, and you're just surrounded by these trees, and you're on this slope going down into the valley, the Don Valley. And when it's springtime, it is absolutely gorgeous. It just gives you this really energized feeling, just seeing all the greenery. But obviously in the winter it looks pretty bleak. But anyway, you can see it just kind of snake through the valley. You can see here the Bloor Street overpass. And if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it from here. No, you can't see from here. But underneath the Bloor overpass is a subway. There's actually subway tracks that run, so it's a double-decker bridge. And that was added when they built the bridge, but they didn't add the subway until decades later. So whoever designed that, the engineer, had a lot of foresight. Another major highway that the DVP sort of transitions into is this Gardner Express here, which also turns into Lakeshore Boulevard over here. But the Gardner Express is it's a decaying, decrepit piece of infrastructure that is wonderful to drive on because you get this amazing city view. Oh, okay, well, you can see why it's decrepit. Take a look at this. You can see all the exposed rebar underneath and bits of concrete that have fallen off and all the patchwork. Anyway, so what we want to do though is we want to be on top. We do not want to be underneath. How can we get on top? Okay, this is how we're going to get on top. Come on, no. Okay, yeah, but you can see the decrepit nature of the overpasses. I've got to bring us up on top of the Gardner, though. Let's try this from here. Come on. Fingers crossed. Yes! There we go. Look how beautiful the city looks. All these glass condos everywhere. And you pass the CN Tower. Where did it go? There it is. You can see the tip of it right there. Look at that right there. Rogers Center as well. There it is. And you can see there's First Canada Place right there. The BMO Tower. And then you have all the condos in front of it. Anyway, that's enough of the Gardner Express, I think. Very cool drive into the city. If you're coming from the western side, you will definitely take the Gardner Express, or you'll take the 401, which is this highway over here. Right here. Now this highway is, it has express and collector lanes in it. And let's count them here, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, possibly 17. I know in one location there's at least 19 lanes. I think it's over here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, express. And if you're in an express lane, you can get into a collector lane. It's pretty cool. However, this is not the best highway. It's always full, and they've just expanded it way too much, and the traffic has not gone away. So I don't recommend the 401 in rush hour. Now, this is a relatively new subway maintenance facility, and one thing I noticed about it when I first saw it was that they must have expropriated part of this airport. I think this is Downsview Airport, but you can see that they must have expropriated. I forget how to say it. They must have taken the land from the airport, because you can see that there's a runway right here that it no longer, it has been cut into pieces here. So that's pretty cool. They just kind of chopped it, and they put a road through it and a subway maintenance facility. And you can see that there's a subway station here. And then up here you've got York University, which there's another subway station, and there's one more over here somewhere. Yeah, right. I think that's it right there. And then you have Vaughan over here, which is where I guess they're trying to build a lot of they're trying to build downtown Vaughan over here, which we shall see how successful that is. I'm not quite sure if it will be. You've got North York here, which North York is it's a fascinating experiment in zoning, I would say. You can see that for a block on either side of this main street, which they call Young Street, the zoning is for high-rise condos and office buildings. But as soon as you cross the street, you're in a single-family home territory. So it's a careful node that has been carved out of the surrounding suburban landscape. And it's kind of intense, actually, and I think Yonge and Eglinton is similar right here. Yeah, you can see there's towers right next to houses. Toronto is a beast, man. Just a beast. Yonge and St. Clair right here. So the subway, you've got one line that runs from North York all the way down into downtown, and then it goes whoosh like this, and then it kind of scooches over to Spadina, and then it goes up Allen Road, and then sneaks its way over to York University, and then up into Vaughan. And you have line 2, which runs across from down here at I think it's either Kennedy or Kipling, and it runs east-west across the city. Where's Scarborough Town Center? Scarborough Town Center is up here, so the subway, I think, runs to way runs to here. The last station. And of course you have the Eglinton Crosstown, which they've been building for years, which runs along Eglinton all the way across the town through Young and Eglinton, which has been just a mess. Like you can see here, the construction site effects on the area. It's been pretty devastating for a lot of businesses and whatnot, but that's just life when you're living in a city where you gotta build subways. And this is a major interchange right here with the Line 1, and it goes all the way. I don't know how far it goes, but looks like this is the Eglinton Crosstown maintenance yard right here. They're using different rolling stock for this particular transit line, and so it needs its own little maintenance facility. Now over here, yeah, right around here, these are called the Scarborough Bluffs, right along the lake here. You can see there's a bit of a steep incline. Look at that. Look right here. So these houses, I imagine, are probably in danger. Okay. And then further down the coast, you get a place called the Beaches. That's right here. This is called the Beaches. It's a very high-priced real estate. It's some of the most high-priced real estate in the city, I think. Everyone wants to live in the beaches because obviously there's a beach. And then this is the Portlands, which is an old industrial area that is ripe for redevelopment. There's currently a massive project going on here where they're taking the Don River and they are renaturalizing it, because currently when storm surges come, they hit this corner and then they flood over the edge and completely flood this area. And it does that because way back in the day, when they built the Portlands, when they did all this infill, they redirected the Don River without really thinking about the impacts that would have. And so now when they renaturalize it, it's going to have a second channel and then even an overflow channel. So that's going to be cool, and I bet you this is going to be a heritage building. Look how nice that is. Anyway, now you've got Tommy Thompson Park over here, and the Leslie Spit, which I think it's really cool because these beaches here along the Tommy Thompson Park Nature Preserve, they're actually this is all, like, a lot of this is backfill from old industrial uses, and so you'll find on the beaches, you'll find bricks. Like, all the stones on the beach are actually old bricks, and they've been thrown there, just dumped into the lake, and a natural beach or some natural vegetation has grown on them, and they've been eroded or smoothed out by the waves, and so it looks like real stones, except they're bricks. It's so trippy. It's so trippy. Maybe I can find a picture. I think I'm gonna try to find a picture of see them there. Look at that. Look at all these little bricks. So cool. I know it kind of looks gross. It looks like a pile of trash, but it's still, for some reason, I like this. I just like that nature is sort of reclaiming the brick beach. Anyway, so back to the Wikipedia page. Let's switch back to the map. Yeah, so that's really cool. What else do I want to show? Or do I want to talk about here? I suppose we can quickly look at Casa Loma. Casa Loma, I believe, is right here. It's an old castle right in the city. I don't know, it's just a little tourist attraction. I've never actually been in it. I've driven past it, but I've never been in it. See this hole in the ground here? This is going to be the tallest residential building in Canada. So that is very cool. I do not envy construction workers in Toronto. I've done construction in Vancouver where it is much milder climate, but in Ontario, or Toronto more specifically, you've got extreme heat in the summers with more heat waves to come, and you have extreme cold in the winters with insane wind. I don't know how they can do it. Not something I'm particularly interested in doing, so some of the main streets, like this right here is Yonge Street. It, at one point, I don't know if it still is, but it was the longest street in the world, longest continuous street in the world. Where it crosses the 401, goes through North York here. You can keep following it. Keeps going, crosses the 407. And it keeps going and going and going. Goes all the way up to Barrie, I think, but Barrie's up here, so I guess maybe this was Yonge Street. I don't know. Anyway, it goes really far, so that's cool. Now here, this is U of T. Kind of stretches from Spadina all the way to University Boulevard here, or University Street, or Avenue. I think it's called University Avenue. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, the U of T campus is quite large. It's got some very old historic buildings around. And some new ones as well. This is like, they call this the Rooster Building right here. This library, it's a pretty big library, very brutalist architecture. And U of T extends all the way up to Bloor Street, so it's quite a large campus compared to Ryerson, which is just this little bunch of buildings here. this here is Queen's Park, and that's the Parliament Buildings of Ontario, or Parliament Building. And you know, something that bothers me about them is that they don't look all that fantastic. It looks pretty basic, to be honest. Like if I go to, I hate to compare Ontario to Quebec, but we're gonna go there. We're gonna zoom into Quebec City, and we're gonna look at their Parliament building. There it is. I think that's it right there. Let's just double check. Nope, I think I missed. Okay, there it is. That must be the chateau, the hotel. There's the Parliament building. Look at that. It's a little bit grander. You know, there's a little bit more going on here, it seems. And then if I want to visit Quebec City, by the way. That'd be awesome. Now, and then let's just go and compare both of those buildings to the buildings in BC. And then we'll check out Alberta as well. That's California. So the capital of BC is the city of Victoria. If you want to see a map viewing of Victoria, let me know, but check out the Parliament buildings here. That's what they look like. Quite grand, I must say. And then let's quickly check out Edmonton. I think we checked this out in our last casual map viewing video, but we're gonna do it again. It's Calgary, there's Edmonton. Yeah, honestly, I think Ontario and Alberta are equally mundane. Not really that amazing, but that's okay. Alright, so we're gonna check out a little bit more of Toronto here. Not sure yet exactly what. I guess an overview. Take a look at the rivers. You've got the Credit River. You've got the Humber. Wait, I think the Humber comes out here. Yeah, that's the Humber River. You've got the Don River here. Rouge River here. There's a bunch of other rivers around as well, which I think is really cool that the river valleys are all in, not pristine condition, but they exist. Not like, there's of course a lot of lost creeks and stuff, but a lot of them are still there. And the reason there's a lot of rivers is because, of course, there's a lake and all the rivers dump into the lake, but there's something called the Niagara Escarpment, which I think runs along here. Sorry, it's not the Niagara Escarpment, it's the Oak Ridges Moraine, and it runs along here, and it's basically just a high point, and rivers run from it down into Lake Simcoe and down into Lake Ontario, and it runs, I think, partway to Kingston, so I think it stops around here somewhere. But it's a big hill, essentially, a glacial deposit that makes it so that the elevation is very high, which from which rivers will go down. That Niagara Escarpment is this little thing here. And if you look at Niagara Falls, you can see that that's Niagara falls over the Niagara Escarpment. And you can kind of see that the escarpment is here. And then, where does it kind of, oh, look at that power plant there. That's cool. I'm not exactly sure where it runs, but here it is as well. This is part of the Niagara Escarpment right here, I think. Is it? Yeah, there's some locks here. Let's just go to a place where it's a bit more obvious. Right here, you see that? It's just a slope. There's a low point and a high point, and it's all just flat. And I assume that either has something to do with plate tectonics or just maybe the lake was up here at some point and it washed away the terrain, eroded it away. But look at that, you got this flat spot up here and this flat spot down here, and then you just have this hill, and that is called the Niagara Escarpment. So we're in Hamilton right now, and so Hamilton is actually split into two, and you can see that right here. You got down the lower Hamilton and the upper Hamilton. Anyway, if you want me to go over Hamilton, let me know in the comments. It's not that big, so maybe it shouldn't be its own video, but that's okay. You've got Toronto Pearson Airport here. It's a decent airport, nothing special, but one thing that's kind of cool is that you have these crazy ramps everywhere, these highway ramps coming on and off. I'd say Toronto is definitely a driver's city. If you don't have a car in Toronto, you're pretty much screwed, which is unfortunate because you can't, I guess you can definitely get away without a car in the city itself if you stick to the subway routes and the streetcar routes. But if you want to go anywhere else, like the airport, it's hard to get to by transit. Of course, there's the up Union Pearson Express. But anywhere else, like you really need a car. And that's unfortunate, if you ask me, but yeah, that's just the way it is. It's very sprawling. As you can see, it's very large and very linear in nature as well. It's all part of the corridor between sort of Detroit, Quebec City. It's all one big long corridor. I think one thing you might have noticed is that there's these urban train tracks going off in all directions, which is very different from Vancouver or most cities in North America, I would say, other than maybe Chicago or New York. There's these intercity rail, not that intercity, but you can get out to Guelph on it, you can get to Burlington and Hamilton and out to Oshawa and up to Richmond Hill and maybe even Barrie. I think you can get to Barrie too on the GO train, which is the regional rail system, which used to be more of a commuter rail, but now they're trying to make it into a regional rail, bi-directional, all-day service, which is fantastic. And coupled with the subway and the streetcars, it's just a fantastic system. And the bus system in Toronto is fantastic too. Of course, I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but the buses, maybe it's a better system overall, but I don't think they're as comfortable as like Vancouver buses, because Vancouver, I think they put more effort into the comfort factor, whereas Toronto puts more effort into the efficiency factor. but we don't have to get into that. Anyway, I think I've covered a lot here, and I love Toronto. I spent some time there, living there, so I had a lot to say about it, and I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you found it relaxing, and if you did, leave a like. And if you didn't, leave a dislike, and tell me why. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you see when I upload another video. I'm trying to do these a little bit more regular, but it's difficult given